Hey everyone, my name is Brian Howard. I'm a Calgary realtor who has sold an average of a house a week since moving to this great city in 2003. And this is Calgary Living. I'm interviewing Calgary's top performers as it relates to living and lifestyle in our great city. Some of the podcasts will be real estate decision specific, but most will be about life in Calgary and why we choose to live here, or at least why you should visit. Thanks for tuning in.
Well, folks, welcome and thank you so much for tuning in to what I'm living in Meldrum, living in Calgary to Meldrum. That done many years ago, I guess 2010.
Yeah, 11, yeah.
I think buying his maybe his first, at least I think
Yeah.
first Calgary home.
Our first home, yeah.
The first home, right? Even Doug has the Life Imbalance Wellness Center here on 26. Doug, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be able to share a little bit about.
You jump right in here. Calgary Living, the real town. Where did you move?
So I grew up in Medicine Hat, and then after graduating chiropractic school, which was in Toronto, we wanted to be close to family, but not maybe too close. Both my wife and I had family in Medicine Hat. We liked the proximity to the mountains and chose Calgary as a place to continue to raise our family and have a business.
Jerry, you had two kids already?
I had 2 kids at the time, leaving Toronto, coming to Calgary, and then now I have 2 more kids, 4 kids.
I was like, and Emily, right?
Emily is,
And Emily has family in Medicine. Am I reading High School Sweethearts or something?
No, not so much, but we did know each other. We knew each other at church and just like family friendships and stuff. She's a few years younger than me, and we, knew of each other. We're not interested in each other until,
Yeah. And it is Toronto, where they were for years and years.
Yeah, we were there for 4 years.
So when you became a chiropractic doctor,
Yeah.
and so did you do it somewhere else or?
Prior to getting married, I started an undergraduate degree at the University of Alberta. Did that. I also did an exchange to Finland. So I lived in Finland for 1 year during university. And then after that year in Finland, was married, finished off when we had been married 2 years. Then we off to Toronto for school.
So Doug, maybe you've been in Calgary quite a while. What strikes you about living in?
Yeah, one of the things I like the most about living in Calgary, I do like the proximity to nature for sure, but also like within the city, just the interest in outdoor activities, whether rock climbing or cross-country skiing or being out in nature is, I feel, is a really part of the mentality of a lot of people in Calgary. There's never a shortage of opportunities to connect with people which is one thing that I'm passionate about.
You're looking very originally. What are you doing these days? Though, is it skiing? Or?
I do quite a bit of rock climbing actually, but probably the main thing is just my work is physical, right? I'm twisting bodies throughout the day, doing my chiropractic work. I do a lot of muscle work as well when I'm doing chiropractic treatment. That's a really, way to keep fit as well. So I'm stretching and moving. And then having 4 kids, there's always someone to wrestle with or whatever. exactly.
And that note, so I only ask questions that I relate to. So throw a ball with your kids like to play, because my kids didn't. I could never really get them to throw a ball.
I would say so much either. Yeah.
Who wanted to throw? I was like, did you? But you?
Yeah. I think I like to throw calls. I think it's a product of the modern age. Like my kids like being active. Maybe I didn't have access to when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I never did climbing. Like that was not. But now our kids run up and down the wall at a climbing center and love it, right? They're getting physical activity a little bit of a different way than we did. But yeah, they're not huge ball throwers. Maybe frisbee once in a while. But yeah, if I could condense them.
Oh, it's fascinating. Think about this.
Yeah.
And then the being active of art is part of the reason of Calgary. Tell me some of your first real estate decisions in Calgary. Where did you land and why are you in the Southwest?
Well, that's actually very applicable because when I was coming from Toronto, we had, without any prior knowledge, just place, like close to parents, but not on their doorstep. They couldn't just show up and surprise us. We were like, Calgary's a place. So we chose that first. And then I heard about this business that was first day, that at the time was a floundering business. The opportunity was right that I was able to purchase this business. And we purchased first. We were actually from an uncle that were out of the country that wasn't in this neighborhood, somewhat central in Calgary. And one thing that I was really passionate about in both my undergrad university, chiropractic school, was to be able to be close, cycle or walk to my schooling. And so once we bought the business, immediately ours decreased. And so we're going to be somewhere that I can walk or bike to. Okay. So that was sort of priority number one. And so that also we, as our family, even as we grow, at least for now, we're still have one vehicle because I'm not that reliant on the vehicle. Yeah. That guided a lot of our real estate. At the time, also coming out of chiropractic school and starting up and building up a newer business, we at first chose to buy a townhouse, assumption that we'd live there for a few years and then buy a house, and we did. So we were guided to a good area in Rutland Park, okay, for a townhouse. Yeah, a nice close area. And then I purchased that in 2013, 2014. Yeah, 2014 probably. And we purchased that, and
the first that you purchased?
that was the first we purchased.
Closer to 2011.
No,
2013.
yeah, it was probably.
The market was already increasing when you.
Yeah.
It was fairly early in 2013.
Yeah.
Early in the winter.
We moved here in 2011, and then we're at my aunt and uncle's house for about a year and a half. It was probably, early spring 2013 when we bought that. And that would have been exactly when it was. And then from there, we had Aaron show us around to the different houses. We kept our eyes peeled, wanting to still, stay within that zone. And then found a house in Glamorgan that for us, priorities for a home were also not so much the space within the home, but because we have potential future idea renovating or expanding that house, but to have a larger lot. And so we found a house that back to 2 alleys. And so in the backyard, the alleys are wide in Glamorgan. There's actually a full side yard. Yeah, allows us to have access to just a lot extra space. So we on there, and we purchased that one in January 2016.
January 2016. Good. In a tougher market. So whatever. And did you sell the townhouse?
And we sold the townhouse. Yeah.
And what happened? Did you make money?
You know, we did. We came out ahead a little. Good for you. It was enough that, that we weren't wetting our pillow with our tears. We moved forward,
and for our listeners and viewers, the reason why I asked is we had a little bit of discussion about it. I like to get into sort of the real estate cycle.
For
the listeners and viewers that aren't aware, 2013-14 was a good time in Alberta and Calgary real estate, and really it hasn't been since. Yeah. Actually, 2017, for example, for a seller, was a bit of a rise.
Yeah,
and 2016 was a good time to be a buyer. Or 2018 and 19 has been a good time to be a buyer.
Right.
But 2017 actually was a bit of a rise. So I just find it interesting.
Yeah,
and I'm sure all the listeners do as well.
Yeah, no, of course. And I mean, I think for us, it was sort of our family was growing, and our family we were feeling the pinch in the town. We felt that it was found a home that checked boxes. We were interested. We actually had a great connection to the owner of the house. We were able to use it as a house to get rid of our townhouse first, get this property, and in the future we're interested in further real estate. At the time, it was going to be the easiest to run the business, have our main home and property.
Chiropractic doctor knew the entrepreneurial bend. You were going to open the clinic.
Yeah, I have a few older siblings, have entrepreneur type things, and I think I was interested in a little bit small. There's only one way to go, which is I wasn't as interested for scrap a lot of that. I thought, let me learn my ropes and learn my lesson. A small start. I think I was definitely drawn to that.
But you looking fish and look.
Sure.
I've been to just probably 2 chiropractors. One I like to go back to whenever I happen to be in Prince Edward Island. Okay. You get I have relationships.
Sure.
And he's what you might call, or what I, based on my other visit to a chiropractor, which I didn't like at all.
Yeah.
I would say he's old school, meaning he twists and turns and prods and cracks. The newer chiropractor that I went to had some sort of active nerve. I was in my opinion.
I have an opinion, but I'm not going to offend any chiropractors.
And I shouldn't either.
No, every chiropractor.
How does the public know?
They don't easily. I mean, you have to do some research, but for me, I definitely put a manual therapy. Okay, it's manual muscle work, manual adjustment. That's the way I treat. For me, that's the way that I like it. I shift in the body, and I'm also, as a chiropractor, I generally like to adjust as much as I can get away with. I'm in sore rib in one spot. I'm probably not going to only adjust your sore rib. I'm going to give him education about how that rib can be connected in your shoulder, maybe affect your low back. Very likely, if you have a sore, just your rib, your mid back, your neck, and your low back, because I think you're just better reset the muscular system. Skeleton's going to be more mobile.
I think I would enjoy your totally booking it for you. Meanwhile, I'm gonna say my wife. Yeah. That's what they call it, an actually activator. Active.
Well, that's why, like I said, to each their own, right? There's chiropractors that treat all different ways, patient population. But yeah, if you have someone that likes activator and gets a very manual treatment, they'll be turned off from, and vice versa.
So the pop. Well, I guess by the time you get to be my age and old, you kind of know what you like. But as a young person, how would you ever know what kind of chiropractor you might want to see? It kind of always come up it
comes up all the time. Yeah. And I think, that's why one of the biggest sources of growth for us as a business is work. People, and if they, and employing, right? People tell her he really adjusted my back. What's happening? They're referring, looking for, and
no, I'm not athletic. You're athletic. Who is it? Is it more the athletic type of person who would want?
No, not necessarily. More elderly patients that would maybe be perceived as being frail, or that can still handle really good muscle work and really manual adjusting, where we cavitate. That's the word, like the cracking sound. So I can think specifically of an 89-year-old patient that sees me regularly, able to adjust very spot. Yeah, it's comes to preference for sure, but I treat also children.
So what about is there a football player or a hockey player that would actually like the activator? Or does that, according to your colleagues that practice that way, is that
I imagine so. But it is true that sometimes when you are getting lighter treatment, you don't. It's a little bit harder to change your effect, or you may need more frequent treatment. Is a common recommendation. So for me, I don't recommend that frequent of treatment for patients, because when we're doing treatment, it's pretty aggressive and it's pretty physical. And my regular recommendation for like a patient that's proactive and be ahead of the game, have their spine feeling well, I say, yeah, see me once a month at the most. Even when I'm first meeting a new patient, I might see them 3 or 4 times the first 2 or 3 weeks. a couple of times closer together just to make sure we're getting it right and they're responding. But once, their initial concerns are addressed and they're feeling well, then I say, keep it, on a consistent basis, not an intense basis. You meant consistency.
We're Calgary, economy and such things. What's happening right now in your business? Is the downturn in our economy and more our program like really recently with programs?
In response to the coronavirus, I can't really say much. So, and especially our association limits us from commenting specifically on the virus, but I'm happy to comment on the economy. Regardless, the current coronavirus, is going to affect the economy in a negative way. But I don't think it takes rocket science to know that. And already Calgary was in a bit of economic sluggishness. Maybe it was very bad.
I can be politically correct as you.
It was very bad, and then it seemed like it was slugging along like a half-dead train. But this is definitely a little bit of a slam to it again, right? For us, the hard part was, as much as people love to get a lot of our services are based upon people having access to extended health care. If we people that don't have those plans as much or not as it does affect our business because we rely on employed individuals to access our services. That's primary. That's just the primary category of treatment. And so any, downturn in the economy is definitely negative for we have managed with the business to still continue to grow over the year. There's challenges coming from every direction to keep that, but definitely extended health insurance is of patients, and then also just like people that just have had such a good experience that they'll refer their self-employed friends and say come in and access our benefit, access our services.
And we're jumping a little all over the place here. But what are some of your customers? What do your clients love about this? Your business,
and for sure, I think the single biggest thing is they enjoy the variety of. We pretty much from different people. Just wow, like I didn't realize you had an osteopath. I didn't realize psychologist doing counseling. And essentially, that was one of my objectives early on. Is our first other therapy that we brought, or other practitioner we brought to the clinic with the naturopath, and then later on, Chinese medicine doctor that did acupuncture, then acupuncture, and then later on, an osteopath. So it really, the variety is a really big draw because people that are coming in say, "Oh, well, I can see all of you guys at the same place," and sometimes people have had their chiropractic treatment and then their counseling session and then a massage after, whatever it may be. So that variety is really good. And then also the other big thing, we do direct billing. If people work insurance, they show their insurance card at the front. We take down a detail. We can process, remit, get the payment from the insurance company. people that know us well don't in their wallet or anything else that come in for their us goodbye at the end.
Wow.
We send them out the door, right? So it's great. That's a very big draw as well with easy billing. And
Anything else exciting that we should know about? What are some of the future goals of yourself and the business?
one thing we're always looking for is some better connections to the communities, which is hence interview today.
Thank you.
Yes, again.
Making better connections with the community. That's my objective too.
Yeah, exactly. And when you approached me about this opportunity, I immediately thought can be an opportunity. Share what we do, right? And yeah, those connections at the event to a race, an opportunity to connect with other businesses. We actually have done some promotions, Drug Mart, which is next to us, and as well Yoga, which is just at 7th Street. Both of those businesses, we've had sort of different ways that we've marketed together and promotions or coupons between each other, which has been just another way to show that we are a local business connected or small business owners.
Nice.
And yeah, we want to make sure that the local business community is these smaller, older strip malls, like very eclectic selection of can buy or access here. And I think that's a great job for people that can just, they don't have to jump in their car, get some coffee from Francesca, walk down and get a block of cheese for their supper. It's attractive to the local community.
Is there anything that do you have any deals or special events that
Sure. One thing that we are for, if you see this podcast, then if you mention the podcast or mention Park Bench or the front desk, then they will give you a $10 credit to use for a service at the clinics. Yeah, about $10 free money at the clinic. And the reason why we did that actually is we used to do, we still do some promotions where we give people on massage. Basically, it was sort of limited to one service. But when we have 7 different professions, cheaper if we, mention this podcast, $10 clinic money or whatever, then you can use clinic money for any service. And you can use that toward a counseling session or the osteopath or it's a lot more flexible, and because we have such a wide range of it's if we want.
Maybe just 2 or 3 more questions.
Yeah.
How like Calgary and like mentioned that the colleges here. Is that right?
That's that college doing counseling. You can call her a counselor or
like just finding a realtor for how do people find the person that they're going to connect with? I mean, obviously, like location is important.
Yeah.
Like close to my home, for example. But it actually may not be if you really have a great with your chiropractor, your psychologist, or your osteopath. Or go to your website. They do a little research.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways. Honestly, a lot of people rely on reviews, right? So that for someone that has no connection directly to the clinic, they let me read the review or something and see. And then if we have someone that truly comes in here with no prior reason or connection to the clinic, I mean, usually what ends up happening is they'll access one service, whether or something, And then we have a good culture in here. We treat each other. You know, I treat the massage therapists treat me. I'm a physical therapist, the acupuncturist, you know.
Right.
So we treat each other. And then if that patient comes and sees myself first, and to my, well, you know, I'm doing well, but I know that empathic treatment can really address this issue a little bit better. We do a lot of clinic referrals within the clinic, right? So that's a huge source of people just being aware of the scope of what. And then from there, once again, it's a lot of word of mouth. So if people have really good, they will either give us a review, which is going to stimulate people coming here, or they're be at their family dinner and saying, wow, I'm feeling really great. I just had the best massage of my life. And so we tend to grow very organically. Yeah, for sure. And you know, the organic growth has served us the very best. Like, we do advertising at different times, but as far as most reliable, like sustained growth, it is organic, the person connection. And as our web gets bigger and people move throughout Calgary, I've had patients that lived locally and now maybe live far in the Northwest, and they'll still come here. And then I suddenly see their friend that lives in the Northwest, who's, you know, has no reason to see a chiropractor in the Southwest unless they had a referral connection, right? And that's their referral. Yeah.
How can people reach out? What are some of the best ways? Are you on Instagram? How is your web?
Yeah.
What's the domain of that? And we'll include all this information in the show notes.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, you can definitely reach us through Instagram or Facebook as our main channels of social media. And our website is any of those places, but specifically from the website, you can see all the details of different practices. And then it's very, very convenient to do online booking. We actually, probably, I didn't bring it up earlier, but probably the single most attractive is for patients, because they can both book on reschedule and cancel appointments if they need to, all on their own without calling the clinic. So, you know, if it's a week before their person's appointment and that they need to miss their future appointment, you can say, oh, I'm going to just schedule it for 2 days later because I'll be back in town. Right. So it's very client based, right? Like it's easy for clients and patients to manage their health on their own. And we have great administration staff give details about any of the services we have, or people can call to. We find that the very most used portion is, and it's
final and fun question, Doug. Unless there's anything else we missed,
no, that's pretty good.
What advice would you give your younger?
Oh, yeah, good. I gave my younger, and you said, yeah, business wise, I guess, or just
maybe. Yeah, we'd be a 25-year-old, or
yeah.
I think of my son who's 23.
Yeah. I think the advice I give my kids is I always say, work now or work later, because work is going to happen. And so if you can work hard when you're young, you can set yourself up for an easier life later in your life. And so I think I worked hard, but I mean, I think the advice I would say to my younger self is work harder, right? I think you get a lot of fulfillment out of work. It's good to see this clinic go from 3 massage therapists to 17 practitioners, right? And, and the fact that we're incorporating not just physical health, but mental health and everything else. I think, I feel good about it. But my advice to my younger self is, work hard when you're young, because when you're young, you can work hard and play hard too, right? But when you're old, you can only one that can.
Right.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're set up like you can play harder.
Yeah. So that's a little hard work is never.
It has been a pleasure. It's been great to reacquainted, and it's obviously that you're passionate about your work and your clinic, and you were from the moment I met you.
Right.
So many years ago, I still remember that. Yeah, excitement that this young couple is doing this. Yeah, had good thing going, and I look forward to a chiropractic treatment. In the meantime, I'll hold my shoulders back and stand up straight. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
And I